Hello everyone, and today I am going to show you how to blend between sizes. This is a great skill to have in your sewing pattern making arsenal. It is, as you know, patterns are drafted for a specific body shape in mind, and if that body shape happens to be different from yours, then knowing how to blend between sizes can be really helpful in getting a pattern to fit you in the most optimal way. So this example is part of my Nita Trousers sew-along. However, you can use this technique for any pattern that you would like to alter. I'm going to be using a red pencil, and I have my clear ruler that will be very helpful in making our alterations today. So I'm going to start with the back, and let's start with the hip line here. As you can see, I've used Adobe Reader so that I can print only the two sizes that I'm going to be graded between. This is super helpful, although not all pattern companies offer the print your own size. However, I would always double check before printing to see if it is available for the pattern you are printing, as it helps to clean out any of the other sizes and dotted lines that can maybe be distracting or a little confusing. So in this example, I'm grading from a 26 at the waist to a 24 at the hip. And I will, of course, show you guys some other grading possibilities as well. So for our purposes, this pattern has been nested. Of course, before grading in between sizes, you do want to make sure that the pattern is nested in a way that makes size grading possible. So my patterns are nested, all the centers are aligned, so as the sizes get smaller, the pattern fits inside itself, which makes for very easy grading. That means essentially along the center grain line, all the pattern pieces are lined up, which is kind of essential if you're going to be making any of these adjustments. So before doing any adjustments like this, you do want to be sure that the pattern itself is lined up in a way that makes sense. So for instance, it would be very difficult to blend between sizes if the pattern was completely aligned by the crotch point or something else. So let's get started. As I said, we are going from a 26 at the hip. So I am going to draw in my top seam allowance, which is a 1/2 inch, that I think will be a better point to start from than all the way up top. I want to make sure that the changes I'm making are not going to be just clipped off from the top edge whenever sewn. Another tool that can be helpful when making this kind of adjustment is a hip curve ruler. If you have one of these, awesome. Basically, you would just, I'm going to the 24 at the hip, so I would just kind of position the ruler to where it makes sense, and I get a nice curve, even curve from that 26-inch line to my hip notch at the 24-inch line. If you don't have this ruler though, it is possible to use just a regular ruler. However, you want to make sure that you're not just drawing a straight line. I do this freehand, but I kind of curve my ruler as I go in sort of this sketchy method, and then once I kind of have a shape I like, I get a little more intentional with my line there. So we've just gone from a size 26 at the at the waist to a 24 at the hip. Obviously, you could also do this vice versa. You could go from the 24 at the waist out to the 26 at the hip. You could also do this with your hip curve if you have one. Find a good line, like so. Basically, you are just blending along that empty space between the two sizes. So you are probably going to want to do this, or have to do this, in multiple spots of the pattern. So we need to, again, grade from the 26 at the waist to the 24 at the hip in the center back seam. And you could also, if you wanted to grade from the legs for more tapering, you could do so down here. You can do this at any point in the pattern. You do just want to make sure that you are adjusting all other pieces necessary. So for instance, on the front piece, we have the pocket to think about. So I'm going to fold this pocket piece in half and sit it under the pattern, matching up these notches here and holding that in place. And then when I make my adjustment, let's use my hip curve this time, I am going to go again 26 to 24 at the hip. This is my new cut line. So I am going to cut my pattern all in one go with these pieces underneath so that I'm making the changes to all the pieces at once. And then I will continue cutting all the way down through the leg. For the size 24. And now I have just adjusted my front piece and my pocket piece at the same time. Another thing to note is that when grading in between sizes, you are going to have to decide which pleat and dart marks you are going to follow. For this example, since we are doing the 26 at the hip, we want to keep the 26 dart mark, the size 26 dart mark. So wherever those notches points meet up at the waist, where we're keeping that measurement, is the lines you want to keep, if that makes sense. And that is how you blend between sizes. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Obviously, this will differ from pattern to pattern, but I hope you found this video helpful. It's a really easy technique and a very simple way to get the best fit for your body. Happy sewing!
Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you learned something today. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if there are any other tutorials you would like to see in the future. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my future videos by clicking this button right here. And you can check out my other tutorials in my tutorial playlist right here. I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye!